Hey, what's going on, you guys? It's your girl, Pretty Sexy Jara Brand, aka Stunner the Assassin. And of course, Assassin family, we are back for another review. Of course, once again, in the ATL for Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 16, episode 11, titled Let's Be Honest. And baby, you know, we are already going to pick up from episode 10, which was titled Meditation and Mediation. So, let's be honest, I know it's going to unfold and really give us some tea. But as always, you know, like I said, I am your girl, Pretty Sexy Jara Rant, aka Son Assassin and Assassin Family. As always, I want to thank y'all for doing what y'all are doing, which is showing up, showing love, showing support, liking, commenting and subscribing to the channel. And I just want to give a really big shout out to our newest assassins that have joined us over here. You guys, you know, last time I told y'all we were at 220. Now we are at 227. So 7 people have joined us, assassins over here, my silent but deadly ninjas. And baby, I'm so excited to have y'all join the family. Thank y'all so much. Make sure to tell a friend to tell a friend so you know y'all can be over here with your girl and get in all this tea and a little bit of reality TV. Okay. But y'all, yes. We are finna get into our review. So y'all just sit back, relax, get your popcorn, get your snacks, and baby, let's see what's been going on in the A. So, you guys, as we get to our next scene, it is our girl Kels, and she is at her restaurant, and her cook is, of course, prepping and making meals at Nana's Chicken and Waffles. Baby, and then we see our girl Miss Britt. She is looking very sexy. Her and her husband, they're having a little conversation, and Miss Britt tells her husband that she's gonna try on some things, and let let them pick what she's gonna wear. And I was like, okay, come on, Miss Brent, sickening. And then it was our girl Shamia, and Shamia is in the studio with her family. And baby, Shamia said she is picking her single to release, baby. And she says it's kind of sad because Portia is not there. And then we jump back to Miss Kells, and she's in the kitchen, like I said, at her restaurant, and she's talking to one of her cooks. And baby, it is they like it in, because Miss Kells says for the new restaurant opening up, they shaking hands on it. Then we go back to Miss Britt, and Miss Britt shares with us that her and her husband are going to a wedding, one of their closest friends' wedding that's getting married that coming weekend, which is why he is helping her pick out something to wear to the wedding because they're going. And our girl Shamia is just like I said in the studio with her family, talking about how friendship is hard, and they said it shouldn't be. And baby, we then go from that scene to our next scene, you guys. So yes, you guys, as we get into our next scene, it is our girl, Miss Cynthia Bailey, Miss Angela, and baby, the ladies are going bowling. They got their shoes in their hands. They having a good time. The girls is wearing black. I'm telling y'all, black is where it's at. Period. Um, like I said, the ladies having a good time. They catching up, they talking, they laughing, they walking in, and then guess who is joining them, y'all? It is of course our girl Miss Portia P, honey, and she's coming in, baby. She got her suit on, baby. The hips is hipping, the body is bodying, the girls is sitting. It's just a vibe, and the ladies they sit down, they get into the game of bowling and having fun. And as they are bowling, they talking and having a little conversation. And it's fun, laughs and giggles. And as they're bowling, um, you know, they all sit down and get together collectively, and um they begin to discuss, what's been going on with Miss Portia, what's been happening. And Miss Portia shares that, her daughter wanted to talk to her ex-husband, and she was asking about him, and it just brought her to like tears and a very emotional point because she says like right now, yes, she may not be being 100% there. She may not be being the best friend that she could possibly be, but she is going through a lot. And she said, even when that situation happened, it like really hit her that she didn't know what to do, what to say. And then she said she did reach out to her ex husband. She texted him, but he just left her and her daughter on red, and it just made Miss Portia very emotional. And like I said, then they started talking about her and Shamia and what happened. And Miss Cynthia says that she shared with Shamia, that the ladies' drivers just need a little time and a little space and to get back together collectively. And Miss Angela said, she said, yes, y'all are friends, y'all are sisters, y'all can work it out. There will be peace. And like I said, Portia is crying because this is like very just emotional and a lot to be taken on and sharing. But I'm glad that she is expressing and telling the ladies that hey, she understands and see her part. And then y'all, as we go from that scene to our next scene, y'all in our next scene, it is our girl Miss Drew, and she's leaving from attorney's office because come to find out, well, not even her attorney, a court case, because come to find out her ex-husband was trying to get a hold of another one of her businesses, and he still had not turned in his finances, and we're trying to use her finances as his finances. And she said, she needed to call someone and talk to someone. And y'all, she called the best person in the world. She called her mom, and she was just telling her mom everything that's going on and all this information that she's finding out last minute that her ex-husband is doing and everything that he's trying to do. And her mom says, well, baby, it's gonna be okay, and we're gonna get through this. And she just shares a lot of hope and encouragement, and I think that's what Drew really needed because you could tell a lot of this divorce is taking a toll of Drew, especially from what she shared, and you know. It just seems to be very heavy, and she's trying to do the best that she can. But y'all, as we go, from that scene to our next scene. In our next scene, y'all, we are at Miss Angela's home. And you in the beginning of the episode, Miss Angela said she was gonna have a sit down and set a date aside for her and her mom. And so she is getting things prepared and ready. And her mom is knocking at the door. Miss Angela goes and open it. And baby, Miss Angela's mother is very beautiful. Also, RIP to Miss Angela's mother because Miss Angela did lose her mother since the show has been on. If you guys did not know, send her love, flowers, prayers. She shared that on Instagram a while back. But it's very beautiful to see Miss Angela and her mother together because they are having a conversation and they're talking a lot about, the family and how Miss Angela has played such a big part in just, everything she's been trying to do for the family, and then her mom just being her support system and them having just the relationship that they have in the bond. And we find out that Miss Angela has always been very close to her mom, and she stated that actually in the season first began. But this conversation that they are having, is bringing them laughs, giggles, and you can tell a lot of understanding and joy. And they end the scene with them hugging and smiles. And y'all, as we go from that scene to our next scene. So yes, y'all. As we get into our next scene, it is our girls, Miss Kells, and of course Miss Kells is doing her mom thing, baby, which she always spends time with her girls. But she's with her oldest daughter. She's teaching her how to drive, and baby, Miss Kells says she should have drunk a few more glasses of wine because baby, her daughter and is driving, baby, it's a lot going on. But while she's driving, they're having conversation about the restaurant, about the new location, about getting it up and running. And one thing I love about Miss Kells as a mom and seeing on the Real Housewives is that she's always asking and talking to her daughters about their goals, their plans, like their futures, and where they see themselves and what's going to happen next in the next chapter of their lives as young women and coming up in this world, and I love to see that. And her daughter Chloe says, "Well, mom, I'm going to work at the restaurant," and she was like, take over the business and be part of the business. And Miss Kels loved that, and it was just very, very beautiful. Then Miss Kels said, "Well, babe, maybe I should get you." She was like, "I thought I was gonna get you a Jeep." She said, "Maybe I should just get you what I had, which is like a Honda hatchback." And baby, I was like, "Miss Kels, now don't too hard. Don't you do your daughter." But she was like, "Well," her daughter was like, "Well, mom, I mean, you have the money." Then Miss Kels was like, "Well, no, baby, my money is my money, and you have to have your own money to take care if you want a vehicle." And I was like, "Well, yes, baby, that's right, Miss Kels. Now you do that, mother, do that, because you had did that." And it's just a very beautiful moment and beautiful scene. And then y'all, we go from that scene to our next scene, and it is our girl Drew. We are in her home, and Miss Drew's in her PJs, and she's outside, baby, getting the mail. And she comes back in, and she is getting a drink for her and her mom, and they sit down in her foyer, and while they're sitting down, they're having a conversation about Mrs. Drew divorce and everything that's going on with the case and what's happening in between her and her ex-husband. And her mom shares with her that, you know, the only thing that she said to her ex-husband about this whole case situation is that the courts were not taking in consideration the children and their living conditions, of her living upstairs and him living downstairs. She said because it's playing an effect on the kids and it's changing them. And Miss Drew breaks down, and you can tell that it's really affecting her because as she said she did not even notice that this was happening. And then her mom says, you know, when I can't get a child under control, something's out of order, and it's just hitting Miss Drew. And she, like I said, she is crying and she's breaking down because she said she was not expecting to hear this, and her mom's just telling her like she's sorry, she wasn't trying to hurt her feelings, she just wanted her to know. And you know they do end things on a calmer. And after Miss Drew has gotten herself together, she says she thanks her mom for being there and just being her support system and her backbone. And I think it's very beautiful to see. And they hug one another. And y'all, I just pray, they both get through this. And I pray for their kids. I pray for them because divorce, I can imagine, can be very tough. And you can tell because a lot of the ladies on the show are going through a divorce currently, and it's happening in real time. But y'all, as we leave from this scene and get into our next scene. So yes, 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 y'all. We get into our next scene, which is our closing scene, and baby, it is our girl, Miss Portia and Samia, and they are finna have a sit down. And baby, Miss Portia got on this all white. I'm loving the fit. And Miss Shamia got on a white top, nice denim jeans, crisscross X, got the little bit of skin out with the heels. And it's giving body yaddy 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 yaddy. And y'all know this is the first time the ladies are actually sitting down having a conversation since episode 10. So this is gonna be very interesting. And we are sitting down at this restaurant, y'all, and they speak, and before you know it, the ladies jump right into it. And let's just say, Miss Shania is not holding back with Miss Portia. She's like, no, let's talk. Let's be open. Let's be clear. Let's be transparent. She's like, because Portia, I would never allow anyone to get into our friendship and make a call or a judgment or a decision and come back and tell you. She said, and when you say things like, oh, my mom told me I should watch you and you're not, you know, you're not to be trusted. She's like, those things hurt my feelings, Portia. And Portia's like, are you doing this because of the show, Shamia? Like, what is this about? Like, are you doing this because of the show? She's like, no. She's like, then you're acting like you just don't want to be bothered. Like you're just so dismissive. Like it's so it's so only about the show. She's like, it's not. And then Miss Portia goes to the restroom because she starts to get very emotional and public. And baby, she went to the bathroom, and so Shamia is sitting at this table, baby, and the eyes, the waters are there, the tears is there. You can see it, and you can tell from this conversation that both of these ladies, number one, are hurt by this entire situation that's going on at hand, and then it's more so due to the core base of their friendship and where they stand as friends. And you can just tell that Miss Portia's like, look here, we good girlfriends. We ain't gotta do this on camera. We ain't gotta talk about this. And Shamil was like, why not? Why can't we be how we off camera, on camera? And Miss Portia was like, why are we talking about that? And it has become just a very drawn out moment. But I love how the ladies both are handling the situation and how they're having this conversation. But things at this table are getting very tense between the ladies. And baby, this is not how I was expecting for the closing of Real Housewives of Atlanta to be. I'm just say that. Cause y'all, as someone who has been through this phase what Portia and Shamir is going through, it's never easy. It's never really fun. It's never just like the best place to be with your friend of years and time spent. So I love the fact that they were able at the end of this conversation to look each other in the eyes, hold hands, and have a sisterhood with some understanding. You guys, as we are closing out Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 16, episode 11. Let's be honest, baby. Y'all, it is me, your girl, Pretty Sexy Driver, the brand, aka Sonic the Stetson. Until next time, you guys be safe. Much love. Peace.